And our next part now, bloggers and blog tours. A lot of you are looking for bloggers and influencers, and we would like to know what is the right way to do it. And we have two speakers. First, we will invite those who, or the group of those who prepare blog tours, and then those who travel. I'm inviting Yana Muromova here, the Deputy General Director of Annex Tour, and Yana Kuchigura. So we will have. So I would like them to tell you how they pick up bloggers for blog tours and how they organize these tours. So you're welcome. Dear friends, good afternoon to you all, and I'm glad to welcome you here at this Digital Marketing Forum. Jan and Maria will tell you about our achievements, and I wanted to say that tourist business in Russia is developing pretty quickly, and its growth rate is in line with the growth of technologies. And we're going digital. We are trying to reach the point when our partners and customers are just 2 clicks away from us. So automation of this business process helps us paying attention to important things like product diversification. Not a single chat. You can hardly find a chatbot which can rival humans. And the more technological we become, the more people would like to get some personal content. So thank you very much for setting up this event, because it's a great combination of technology and cooperation. I will now tell you how we pick up bloggers and how we organize these press tours or blog tours. Press tour is about exchange. So it's about, and the objective is to get publicity, and that publicity will translate in more attention attracted to your product. Blogger's opinion is currently regarded as a friendly recommendation rather than advertising, and people are more sensitive to these recommendations now. However, there are sometimes bloggers, especially novice bloggers, are making advertising, like posts which actually read as advertisement. In a lot, but more experienced ones have tailor-made posts, so which are more efficient. So when we organize a press tour, we organize the flight, transfer, tours, and the meeting with our representatives and hoteliers and representatives of tourist ministries. We have been organizing press tours for quite a long time now, and within these 3 years we have organized more than 20. And we have a big range of partners who we work with on a permanent basis. And this is pushing our brand upwards. In our press tours, we are trying to bring together bloggers from travel area together with journalists in order to increase the overall reach. But we're also exploring the feasibility of setting up a purely blog tour. Bloggers may be a tricky audience. It is important that you detect those accounts with an inflated number of subscribers and likes, and it needs to be done manually. That's the only way to do it. So apart from buying likes, users have different opportunities. You can buy comments also. So there is an illusion that a blogger is an active interaction with his audience. So blogging community is a closed group. Everyone knows each other, everyone talks to each other, and especially if the bloggers come from the same area of interest. So we are trying to maintain contact with all our partners, and all these people are willingly sharing contacts of their colleagues, and they are recommending us to their colleagues. And this is how we found our top bloggers. So how do you find these top bloggers eventually? Announcements help in theme groups. There are lots of groups like PR Russia, top Russian bloggers, journalists and bloggers. All these groups and announcements in these groups help. So that can be the starting point of your acquaintance with bloggers. So when a personal stand taken by the blogger is important. So you may have a very small blog, but quite an interesting one, and that will give you a good outcome, because it is the personal position the author takes which is interesting to the people, and this is why people read the blog. In a lot of cases, they would go to read the blog just to find out what that person particularly thinks about certain things. So whether there is a lot of advertising in that blog, if there is a lot of adverts, then it will not be very efficient. Only those advertisements which look organic, they tend to be users forgive bloggers for such advertising. So to what extent the content of the blog is in line with the interests of your target audience in terms of age, in terms of other parameters, you can find that out asking a blogger to provide you with the statistics, because every blogger has that. You can ask for the viewing statistics, but this is something which is more difficult to inflate as compared to the number of likes. Number of subscribers. In this case, we should not take a look at the absolute number of subscribers, but at the number of active subscribers. So another important point is whether the blogger is communicating with his audience directly and in full, and whether he is responding to comments and interacting with its subscribers. All the conditions need to be thoroughly discussed with the blogger before the tour. And it is up to you to pick the blogger, and that will be driven by the objective of your tour. In a lot of cases, it is more efficient to target bloggers which are more moderately famous. Their advantage is the fact that they are interested in promoting their brand, and they are more responsible, I would say. In those cases, when you need to send a mass message to your audience, then you should combine different channels. So, for example, you can have celebrity bloggers on board. You can have bloggers with million subscribers on board. Normally, we work with bloggers from the travel area, but that's, again, it is objective driven. That depends on what we want to get. Just recently, we organized a press tour together with Dubai Parks, which is an entertainment park in Dubai, and we wanted mothers, because their target audience are families with kids. So we had the reach of more than 2 million people, and a lot of comments saying that more and more people would like to go to and visit that park. So how do we measure efficiency of a press tour? In the present-day world, social media like Instagram and others have become a very efficient means of promoting a tourist destination. Hundreds of thousands of Russians who are interested in traveling subscribe to bloggers. So you may have 7 or 10 bloggers on board, and they will give you a coverage of 4 million people. Given the fact that these recommendations will be given by people with loyal subscribers, the result of this advertising will be better. However, it is quite difficult to measure. So for the purpose of convenience, we're using an intermediate KPI, like the general reach with the breakdown by bloggers and the aggregated reach for the entire group. So we don't have a problem with measuring this, since there are tools to measure these statistics. So just like bloggers, we want to make people loyal to our brand. We want to get them acquainted with our product test the product. We want to give them an opportunity to travel. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Please ask your question into the microphone, otherwise you will not be heard during the broadcast. Just two questions. Do you pay to these bloggers and do you sign contracts with them? No, we do not pay them. And we do not sign a contract with them because a majority of bloggers, they detest contracts. So it's just a friendly agreement between us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jana. And now I'm glad to announce the next speaker. So let's have a blogger's take of the situation. All secrets of travel bloggers from the mouth of a horse. How you find us in the social media and how you get the maximum effect from us. Good afternoon. My name is Kirill Sermon, and I like to be here in front of you today. I am a PR expert and SMM expert and a PR travel blogger. And I have developed my blog. I liked traveling and I had some writing skills. So I also work as a celebrity manager in Peskov Production for the last year and a half. We represent 30 popular actors, actresses, and bloggers. So we work exclusively with them. So I know what approaches should be taken to celebrities, stars, and what activities can be efficient or not. A blog tour is an excellent way to promote your products. And as previous talkers mentioned, the reach of Facebook posts or Contact posts is going down. So your brand may be represented on your platforms and also other well-developed platforms, like, for example, bloggers. When Annex Tour is setting up 6 tours, 10 bloggers each, we don't want actually to go into these tours because there is nothing new there. But anyway, we keep hearing Annex Tour, Annex Tour, Annex Tour over and over again, and that pushes up brand awareness and that pushes up your sales. So when we make this purchase, and by the way, I also went on one blog tour with Annex Tour, and it was very well organized. And this is why a lot of my friends, they only know Annex Tour, because GUI or Coral Travel, we tend to forget them simply because people now know Booking.com or Aviasales or Skyscanner. So blog tours are the tool which help us to recommend something to our customers directly, because in a lot of cases a package tour is a good option. And when do you have a blog tour? How do you pick up a blogger?
The most obvious thing, of course, is to find a blogger traveler. And it all began with Instagram, because people started to develop this, and when they earned some money, they decided to travel, and then they traveled on other people's money because they were invited. And we have some top celebrities who really travel all the time. And sometimes you will even have to pay them if, for example, if you want them to go to Georgia, for example, and they've already been there. So you should either pay them some money or invite someone else. Those traveler bloggers are really interesting because maybe they don't have such a great audience, maybe 400,000 subscribers, and it's not really too much because Buzova has 12 million, for example. But the good thing is that, of course, you can't measure it But you can see because you keep track of your bloggers, and the bloggers will tell you how they traveled, about the hotels, and you understand that these are people who are really interested in this. There are a lot of people who organize travels to Africa, and the average spending of such a person can be 400,000. And those are people who are really ready to pay this money. So if they can pay this money to him, they can pay this money to you. So you should pay attention to people like this. Maybe you recognized Sergei Sukhov or Polina Brzezinska, who are among the most famous bloggers, and many companies want to invite them. If you've decided to have a blog tour and you've invited a blog traveler, some people tell you, some bloggers tell you, well, my dates are already fixed, I have other travels, but actually other people are still vacant and you can just find new names. So never be afraid of finding new names, of discovering them. There's a great choice, and there's also another segment. Let's look into it. At the moment, this is my favorite segment because all those guys who are on these pictures are those who work with our agency. Of course, there are more people like this, but I'm personally familiar with each one of them. They are stars or very famous bloggers. We have Masha Minagarova, Natasha Rudova, and we also have Kina Galic, who is the queen of Instagram, and there is Sasha Homenko. So why are these people so good? They have global coverage. One post of those guys can have a coverage of 4 million, and it's real statistics. It's the truth. So let's take an average blogger with 200,000 subscribers. These bloggers will need to have 40 posts, and then they will have the same coverage as these guys. Of course, it's easier to remember something when there are 40 posts, but these people do not travel so often because they have a lot of work. But how do you invite them? It's complicated, of course. Any invitation like this will probably cost you money because any company has limited resources. For example, you say, I want to send someone on a journey in May, but if you contact those guys, they are busy and they say, I only have some free time, not in May, but in August. So do you just refuse them or what? So very frequently, people like this, famous people, are not ready to agree with that. For example, a hotel writes, we want to invite Lida Galic. We will give her 3 nights and there will be 3 posts. Of course, it's impossible. If you really want to work with top celebrities, you need to talk with them like with stars. And you should actually give them compromises because sometimes the hotel says, yes, we have 2 business class rooms. If she needs a week, let it be a week. If she can't do it now, let's say this later. And I reply, Anastasia went to her own filming on her own filming tour, so she can't do this now. So, of course, you can cooperate with our agency, or you can cooperate with the agency of Maxim Fadeev. Those people are always ready to work with you. Or let's say January holiday, a top journey to Mauritius for 2 people. That could be $500 million for the tickets and 1 million for the hotel. So I don't know if you have this budget, 2 million rubles. If you invite Timothy and Anastasia Reshetova, they want to have a holiday. Of course, they will also spend some money. But if you know when they will have this interest, so actually this trip can cost you 10 million rubles. So maybe I could work like that if I was a PR specialist in a travel company. There's another group of very popular people. These are video bloggers on YouTube. YouTube is a very popular platform. They are all stars. Kids know them, and everyone knows them. So why not so many people pay attention to them? First of all, these are young kids. They are not Instagram guys who are 22 years old. They are 17 or 18. They do not know what to do with this money. They don't speak English, so for some reason, these people on this platform do not become travel bloggers. Furthermore, YouTube bloggers lose to Instagram bloggers for one very simple reason. The audience are kids there, and you can feel that. Do you disagree with me? Of course, there are different platforms there, but if you name 10 bloggers with an adult audience, they might be the celebrity category, so it's very difficult to name 10 of them. Personally, I don't know so many platforms. So the audience are mostly kids, and they are almost never invited to blog tours and so on. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'm ready to discuss this. It's difficult to establish KPIs for them. And of course, it's pretty difficult to write a barter contract with a blogger because many people don't have an individual entrepreneur status, and sometimes there are some nuances, but very often if it's a blogger, you can talk with a blogger like with a kid. And I'm a PR expert who's been working with them for 5 years. I sent them on blog tours, and sometimes I can find some compromise with them. Well, sometimes those bloggers are not very responsible because they are really young people. But if you agree on the most important terms with them, you can always ask them to do something because very frequently it's an argument in favor of being able to do this. Furthermore, this year there are stories because on Instagram, along with the classical posts, there are stories, and the coverage is really high there. For example, I prefer the stories, not the news feed. For example, if you come to a restaurant, if you advertise a restaurant, it's the blogger who does this, and everyone understands that it's an advertising. But if a blogger comes to a restaurant and he takes photos of his friends, then it's really a story. It doesn't look like advertising. And this is something really influential. There is a little advertising there, and you can just share your emotions there. Says, why? Oh, wow, I admire this. It's cool. I've never seen anything like that. So please remember that in your KPIs, there can be not just the posts, but also the stories. It gives you a wow effect. And within a week, you can really brainwash your audience, saying that you are delighted with these tour operators, and they will remember it. 5 stories per day is better than one post, that's for sure. Maybe we have some time for questions. This is my Instagram, because I haven't taken my visit cards here. If you want, you can subscribe on my Instagram. Thank you very much, Kirill.